Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. So crazy weekend. You and I tried to get together and we just had so much going on.
It has been nonstop. I know, it's so crazy. It's like, when you get to go, when you're getting ready to go out of town and like everything hits, that's me right now. So
yep. So we're right up against Thanksgiving. Do you stay home? Do you go somewhere?
normally we stay home, but this year actually Adam and I are going on just a little trip, just us two, and I actually don't know where we're going. He said I'll find out tomorrow morning. Yeah. And I mean, we're driving, so it's not somewhere far. But I just wanted like a little getaway for a couple of days. And so we're just the kids are gonna be at their mom's, and my family's kind of doing stuff, his family's doing stuff. So we were like, for the first time ever, let's just do something just us two, and then we'll come back next weekend.
Yeah, because I think sometimes Thanksgiving is like exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in a ton of work and it's over in an hour,
Yeah.
Well, not an hour because you still have to clean up, but it feels like it's like such a buildup and it's like, whoa. So I've often thought too, it'd be fun just to go away on Thanksgiving, not have all that.
Yeah, we've never done it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited for a little break.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about generosity, kind of what we're grateful for since we are here at Thanksgiving. And then you're about to turn the big 4-0. I love it. I love that you're catching me, Dana. I love it.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's creeping up. And selfishly, we always say we do these, sometimes we do these episodes for like selfish reasons. Selfishly, I text Linda and I'm like, hey, tell me what advice you would give yourself if you were 40 again to give to me. So I thought that'd be a good one for us to share on here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, which one you want to start with? You want to start with generosity?
Let's start with generosity. So we had recently heard our pastor from Seacoast Church here in Charleston, Josh Surratt, at the I Love Coaching Summit. And we might have touched on him a little bit, but I couldn't remember. But he talked a lot about what are your generosity goals. And I just think this time of year we have, we talk about Thanksgiving and what we're thankful for. And it goes by so fast. And I've been having such he gave us a quote that me and you both loved: never resist a generous impulse. And I think lately this year, embarrassingly enough, I have given a lot financially and haven't given a lot time wise. And so it's just been like on my mind and on my heart lately. And I was thinking, going back to what he was talking about, and he said, when you think about generosity and being grateful and gratitude and, Thanksgiving, the time that we're in, you have to have like the heart of a giver. You have to cultivate a generous heart, and then you have to make it a priority, because he said, if you don't pre-decide, then you'll just give what's left. And I thought that was so good, just to kind of remind everybody and talk about as we're moving into a grateful time of year with the holidays and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. And I think, too, we live in the gap sometimes on giving, sometimes people can't give money. It's not the time to give money or whatever, but think through what other blessings or gifts do you have? Like, one of the things that we do is we let our house be used by the church, by the pastor, by the worship leader. We just had a women's group be there for a retreat just to rest and revive and fellowship together. So I think rather than live in the gap of, I really can't afford to give money, or I don't give that much money or whatever, I think in the areas of anything to do around Christianity, we can let ourselves have a lot of guilt and living in the gap of what we don't do. And I remember one time talking to my pastor and saying, God, I feel like I'm not called to, thank God I'm not called to Africa or somewhere, because I'm sure if I was, he would have quit me, but it doesn't sound very good. And, so you always feel you compare. I think Christians really compare. And so he said to me one time, he said, Linda, God gives everybody different gifts. And if yours is money, great, give money, right? Yeah. If yours is, different gifts, give those gifts. And so, just starting one, I love that quote. I'm going to put that up in front of me forever, because I do think you get those generous impulses, and it could be simple as, buy a meal for somebody that you can tell needs a meal. Yep. And I think right now we're in such a situation where lots of people are hurting. I mean, I think we're going to go Mimi and Pop Pop Camp is tomorrow.
Oh,
And
is it tomorrow?
tomorrow, I'm so excited. So
Oh,
tomorrow we're going to do several things. One, we're going to go to Chick-fil-A.
oh, great.
We're
Oh my gosh.
gonna, we're going to go to explain to the kids that kids who work for Chick-fil-A get
Yeah.
extra points on their college admission.
Yep.
Now, you tell us what you see and what you figure out on why that is.
Hey,
right?
wait, if we have a new listener. Will you tell them just really quick what Mimi and Pop Up Camp is?
Well, Mimi and Pop Up Camp is where we take 2 days before Thanksgiving and we take our grandchildren for the day. And we really just try to find a way to teach a little bit about certain things that we wished we had known sooner. And then we also, first we do breakfast, and we either do, like we've done things like tell them about my side of the story of family and his, because, you don't talk about those things. And one of the things I'm going to tell you at 40 is as you get older, there'll be things you wished you knew about your family that you didn't care about earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
like right now, I wish I had some genealogy on, especially on my dad's side of the family, because I know nothing, but even on my mom's,
Yeah.
because you start to have a curiosity that you don't have when you're younger and so busy. So we either explain about our history, or we ask them questions, or we teach. We have John Maxwell's values, so we teach those.
Yep.
But this year I kind of felt called to talk about manners and respect and responsibility. So we'll see how that shapes up. I've got 24 hours, good Lord, to get this together. And then we go to the Salvation Army, because Salvation Army, it has a place in my heart, and we usually make a donation. I usually sometimes have the Salvation Army talk about what they do. But this year they actually have moved into a new facility and they serve lunch every day.
Oh, wow.
So our kids are going to get to serve, and we're going to talk about what did you learn. And our t-shirts say, live big lives, give back to others, and be kind to everyone.
Oh,
So
I love that.
that's what our Mimi and Pop Pop shirts say. And so and then we go do something fun. And this year we're actually going to go to a big family cooking class that's just for us. And we're going to learn to make pizzas, and I don't know what all we're making, but
That
anyway.
is so fun. Hold on. Live big lives. What else?
Give back to others.
Oh, yeah.
And be kind to everyone. And the reason we put be kind to everyone is because every time we take them to school, we always say, remember, be kind to everyone. Because I think kids can get so mean.
Yeah.
And I hate mean people, period.
Yeah.
And especially mean kids. But anyway, I just try to remind them to be kind to everyone.
Yeah, I love that.
I was watching my granddaughters the other day leave school when we were getting ready to come home to Texas. They gave a hug to anybody who wanted a hug.
Oh, yeah.
Like, God, if we could just preserve that for the rest of our lives, right?
Yeah,
Just give a hug to anybody around you.
Yeah.
No judgment, no anything. Just give them hugs,
Yeah, I love that. I love that you and Jimmy do that so much. I think that's like the best idea ever for any grandparents that are listening to the podcast, because I just think, one, like, I just wish my grandparents, I would have had more time with them and stuff like that. But sometimes I think grandparents specifically have a harder time even knowing what to do or finding things to do with the grandkids. And usually the parents are always there. So I just think this is so cool that you guys do this. And two things, I love you're going to Chick-fil-A because their peppermint, they just started back on the 16th of their peppermint milkshakes, which are like, I mean, I have to limit myself to one a week during this season because they are so freaking
Is
good.
it served at breakfast time?
No, it's all day long peppermint milkshakes.
Oh, good. Well, then guess what? The parents won't be with us, and we can sugar up if we want to.
But then also, don't forget, because I haven't done this yet, but remember what Dan Cathy told us about if you're at a Chick-fil-A that has the community table, which are those big wood tables. Remember he said the men that make them sign something underneath the bottom or something. So while you've got this little kids,
I hope we have one.
I know. If you have one, look and see if there's stories on the bottom, because that would be cool for you to tell the kids about.
Okay, let me tell you this real quick story that my trainer told me, though. My trainer has complained about this guy that he hired kind of as an intern to work with him in construction, because my trainer is also like a carpenter guy. Mm-hmm. And he's done nothing but complain about the guy. And I finally said to him, I said, Jeremy, I think the guy's not in a role that he's good at. I mean, he cut the boards too short. I mean, just over and over, and Jeremy's just complaining. So finally the guy, he moved him to social media, and then I think he moved him completely out of social media. So he tells me when I'm telling him about Chick-fil-A, he goes, well, now that idiot works at Chick-fil-A. And you know what he called me and said the other day? I said, what? He said, you know what? I don't understand this. He said, my manager wanted me to clean I don't know, the toilets or something. I can't remember what it was. He said, can you believe that? He makes way more money than me, and he thinks I'm supposed to clean the toilets. And so I'm thinking, and he says to him, whatever the kid's name is, he said, hey, dummy, if the janitor ain't there, you're next in line. It doesn't jump up to the manager because they make more money. Anyway, I'm laughing, but then I got to thinking, I thought, God, I hope he's not at the Chick-fil-A I go to, because he probably don't say my pleasure. And I want my kids to hear people say my pleasure instead of no problem. I'm like, please don't let that idiot be at my I said, which Chick-fil-A does he work at? I'm not going there.
Oh my God.
And I said, he'll probably be fired by then anyway.
Probably. I was gonna say, you probably won't make it a week. So hopefully
He didn't make it the minute he told the manager, you make more money, you clean the toilet.
Oh my God. You know what though? That goes back to one thing I read on here that Josh Surratt said. He said, it's very hard to be a generous and grateful person when you're entitled.
Yes. Yes.
And that's so true. That guy sounds like he's entitled if he thinks he's too good to do that.
Oh, that's so too. I'm gonna teach that.
Yeah,
to kids.
very hard to be generous and grateful when you're entitled. And I think that's so good. But getting into the grateful thing, this next year, I really have an intention of keeping a gratitude journal. I feel like that's one of those things that keeps coming up to me over and over. You know how we always do that? Like you hear something a couple of times and you're like, okay, like I need to focus on that. By the way, I've committed to all the business planning clinics that I've taught when we were talking about health that you and I are going to do that Slack line. So we got to get that. So
I've been to the website like 3 times. I thought, oh God, this looks complicated.
I know. I've committed to people that's going to be one of my health things. And I said, but I think Linda's doing it too. So I know if Linda does it, then I'll do it. So we'll just have to do it together. But the gratitude journal is something that I think next year I'm really going to work on intending to do more of, because I know there's so many things I'm grateful for, but it's like you move past them so quick.
Yeah.
You know, that's like,
and I think because we move so fast. Oh, look, I look at this thing right here and it says gratitude. That's so cool. I looked up on my desk. It's probably been here 14 years. It says gratitude. And I think this is so cute. You write little cards.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I didn't know where this came from. It's probably a good idea I had that didn't last very long. I think we were going to put them in a jar about each other. I don't know what happened, but
that's
anyway.
a good idea. Well, maybe you can take that and start it.
But also, I think the other thing too is, for me, when I try to do gratitude journals and stuff, is I feel like I write the same things over and over. Yeah. So what we might do is challenge ourselves to not write the same thing in a week or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? We always say like family, health, all those things. But I think because we go so fast, we need to figure out how to slow down and find even the micro things that we're looking for.
Yep. Totally true.
Okay. All right. So, yes. So go ahead. Sorry, interrupted you.
Oh no, that was it. That was all I was going to say.
Okay. So, yes, I love the generous thing. And I love the fact that, that we got to hear him speak on generosity, because not very many, sometimes pastors speak on it, but not always.
Yeah. Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, I think it's just a good time of year. Like while we're talking about all the things we're being grateful for, so much of that, so many people don't have a lot of things to be grateful for. So having the generosity piece to me is huge.
Well, and I think too, I thought through what I was grateful for, and I thought, I'm thinking deeper about some things that I haven't really thought about before. Like I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I have looked up at something, there's been a lot about Israel, and I feel so bad for those people, both sides, but I feel so bad. For what's going on over there. And I thought, I don't think I am grateful enough for our military, who they make a commitment to go protect us and keep people hopefully out of our country that would do things like that. And I know we're not doing a very good job of that sometimes, but hopefully those men and women have chosen to stand up and be on the front line to do that. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful. Honestly, this year I have woke up more grateful for Gary Keller than I ever have, because I think about the battles he's had this year for our industry.
I don't know how he does it. It's a lot.
I think God gave him a stamina that he didn't give the rest of us, but I'm grateful for Gary Keller, and that he has fought so many battles on our behalf for our future. And just that he changed the real estate industry. Realtors didn't get other opportunities before Gary Keller came along. Realtors didn't think big like they think now before Gary Keller came along. They didn't have models that got them to have the most profit. So he's really been on my heart a lot this year. And every time I think about him, I try to pray for him and pray that he has the stamina to keep fighting for us. And then, of course, I'm always grateful for family, and that, sometimes we live in the gap with our family, like what they could do better or whatever. And I think, I'm grateful none of my kids do drugs and have addictions like my previous generation before me. And I'm grateful for that, because that is not a fun way to live when you're living with family members who have addictions, because families are not someone you can necessarily pick and choose. You can pick and choose your friends, but with family, you're kind of stuck. And so I'm just grateful that none of them have, any of those things that would affect everybody in the family.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely grateful for health, because like they say, when you don't have health, none of your other goals are going to matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I had health. I was like my second one, and I know that is one that people say, but that's so true. If you don't have that, nothing else matters. And the big thing I wrote down this year that I'm so grateful for is people who have gone before me, even in experiences, like just with my dad passing away, being able to talk to people who have lost a parent, like you don't appreciate some of those things until like something happens to you. And then you're like, wait a minute, who else has already been through this, so that I can go and talk to them and hear what, and like that, not just on that specific topic, but on so many other things I think of. I just am so grateful this year for people who have experienced things before me that are willing to share with me, like how, what that experience was, whether it's in business, whether it's on a personal thing, on a whatever it is. Because sometimes when things happen, that's, you and I always say this, but it's like, there are times when you need to look around for an adultier adult. And usually it's because that person has already been through it, or they already, have some advice, they've already experienced it. And so just being able to really talk to people who have been through things that I'm now going through, and the advice that they've given are huge.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, just being able to remember to reach out to those people. I remember, just having Keller sometimes when I was going through something very, very trying and difficult that seemed insurmountable, like it was my whole life was going to get ruined from it. And he would just remind me, it's not. It's not going to get ruined from it, and so, so just having people and remembering that if you're going through something, look around for somebody that you can pick up the phone and say, I'm struggling with this, and I'm feeling all alone about this. I think I remember the time we had this major, it was like for us at the time, it was horrible lawsuit for something we didn't even have any control over, but a partner and so I just remember feeling so alone. And so like the whole world was going to come crashing down. And just to have Keller who says, no, it's not, trust me, let me tell you when this happened to me. And so, but on the flip side, who do you have in your life that you could say, hey, I don't know if you've ever been through anything like this, but I'm struggling. I feel like this is bigger, something and the bigger we play, the bigger our obstacles are going to get. And so when you plan on playing at a big level, you're going to have obstacles that get bigger. The rocks get bigger. And I think even John said that in his talk that he did at the coaching summit. He talked about maybe it's at Exchange this time, but he talked about the obstacles get bigger. They just do, right? And so to be shocked by them, you should never be shocked by them. You know?
Yeah, it's very, very, very true. I was trying to look at my notes. I do remember him saying something about that. Gosh, we've got to do another one on your ahas from Exchange. I had FOMO the whole time, so I cannot wait to hear about it.
Yes, it was awesome. We'll do that one. One thing I put that I don't normally write down, but I'm grateful that I actually believe in a higher power, because there are moments I think back through my life, even as a little kid, I think kids have a closer connection. I think they're purer than as we get older and get, less pure in our thoughts and our actions and everything else. I remember feeling his presence in very troubling times as a kid. And I think as I've gotten older, there are certain situations I've gone through that if I didn't have that knowing, that would have been really, really tough to get through. And I think it could have hardened me and it could have tainted kind of some of the things in the way I see life. right? I think it's always something to fall back on how, how scary the world gets or the things around you get. Just knowing that maybe I can't trust the person in charge in some instances, like presidency or whatever, that I don't have full
Yep.
control over, but I can know that he's fully in charge. And
Mhm.
so that to me is something truly to be grateful for, because if I didn't know that and believe that, I think I would have some real hard times with some stuff that I've gone through.
Yeah, me too. That was the number one thing I wrote down this year, is grateful for just deepening my faith even more every year. I just pray that in this year for sure. And I also wrote down a great church. And lately it hit me, you have a great church too, but there's so many people that I talk to that are like, I just haven't found a great church that I love. I just haven't found a good church in my area that I love. And I thought, gosh, I'm so grateful that I love our church. Like, I just love it. And I was just thinking, there are times when I, maybe didn't love or didn't have a great one. But I would try to find some on TV to watch, or like watch others. But I am grateful for that, and totally agree with you. I don't know how people that don't have a spirituality kind of go through stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, one of the things that I thought of was, honestly, this was a silly thing, but I love people that are willing to share their information. Like, I go to YouTube all the time, and I'm thinking, we used to not have that.
Yeah.
Thinking, if I just have a topic that I want to hear about, I can go to a podcast, I can go to YouTube. I'm actually grateful for those things, because sometimes I just want to learn a little bit more about something, and that's always the first place I go to. And we didn't actually always have that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And so I love that we're in an information age, because I love information.
Yeah,
and I think it gives us a chance to grow in certain areas that we wouldn't normally be able to grow. And I think about the lady that we're doing the beehive stuff with, because she's willing to take her horrible experience and turn around and serve others with it. I am super, super grateful for that.
Yeah.
Super grateful. I see what she's doing that helped me through some severe fatigue, that's helped some of the people on our call literally save their life. And I'm thinking, if she wasn't willing to do that, share that information, then there would be a lot of people in a lot worse shape.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah, totally. Last thing I wrote down on gratitude, it seems like it should be a normal thing to say, but this year I wrote down Adam, because I just think sometimes, I know every relationship has their ups and downs, and sometimes you hit a rough patch, and but I think just really being with like your person has me so grateful this year. And also I hear so many of my other friends and people that I work with, and they're not in that situation, and it just makes me so much more grateful. And I mean, we definitely have our days, which is so funny. I sent you that thing, which doesn't describe me or you, but I thought it was funny. It said, my husband and I are doing a workshop. He works and I shop.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But just
the only difference is we work and shop.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's why it didn't necessarily apply to you and I, but it was a funny thing. But just grateful of our partnership. I mean, I just think when you're with a person that's a true partner to you, like, that's, to me, I'm so grateful for that. And it keeps coming up. Keep talking to people that just seems like they're in a bad spot in that. And I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that I have a great partner.
And I will tell you, when we do the talk on
advice
to your 40-year-old self, that is one of the things I would say to it is, as you grow more and more together, you'll have those moments where you think, oh my God, thank you, Lord, for a mate who I can feel like if I needed to lean on someone, I could lean on him. Not that we do that very much, but to know that it's there. And even somebody that, when I think things are so horrible, will just look at me and say, Linda, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's all he has to say, right? So I think what I would say to the 40-year-old self is, if you hang in there through the hard stuff and you both look at it, that's where you get to almost a moment of thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I'd do without this person.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm grateful for the very same thing, a very, very, very same thing, because there is something to, when you take risk and you do challenges, that if you have another person that can understand it a little bit better, or someone who at least is willing to tell you it's going to be okay, even if they, don't live in the same world, but they just want to be there for you if you need it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that.
Remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. And if you've got a question, a comment, a guest, or a topic you'd like Dana and I to talk about, reach out to us at info@everything life in real estate. And the greatest compliment you can give us is a great review. We would really appreciate that. And the better compliment is to pass this along to someone that you think would benefit from our conversations. So Dana, I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.